Welcome to the Week 10 Game Day Edition, all business edition. In a sense, this is the business here. Week 10 starts, sits live. We are the Flex Network. Catch us on Twitter at the Flex Network 1. Sitting to my side, this is one at Sealy_Shane. We call him Flex Shane of the Flex Network here. Shane, what's going on, brother?
What's up, man? I'm excited for this crazy week 10.
Now, you had said on Twitter it was a buy-mageddon. Oh man, I am feeling the buys this week.
It's a buy-mageddon. Shane, don't talk about your sexuality on this.
Hey, listen, I'm always open. Live and let live, right, Al? That's what I always say.
Yeah, he's a trisexual. He'll try anything.
That's right.
Yes. Underneath me, we have one at Alan Seslowski, ALANSES Low Sky, aka hashtag season long says, good morning, brother. What is up?
It's a Jeff Driscoll kind of Sunday, baby.
It is a maniacal Jeff Driscoll type of Sunday morning. Now, we had known that Matt Stafford is a rugged and tough player, someone who does play through injury, but I don't know that this is a surprising. I think maybe it is because I didn't hear a heck of a lot about it over the weekend. Just I know he's questionable, but we didn't know it would come to this. But what do you think about the bomb-dropping news that Jeff Driscoll is getting the start this week, says?
Matt Stafford wanted to play. Like, he literally, the doctors had to shut him down. Like, he said, I will play through it. Like you just said, he is a warrior. And it only was today that they because he's a veteran and has that tough guy status and clout with the team, they're like, all right, we won't rule you out until Sunday when we have to. You have to submit a final report of your 53. So it was they probably knew they were going to rule him out, but because of out of respect for him, held off. And I bet you we'll learn that Driscoll was taking most of the first team reps, or at least splitting them. And Driscoll, we saw him a couple years ago in Cincinnati. He didn't have much of a showing, and I'm interested to what you guys think about the skill players, not so much Driscoll, because in a super flex, you're desperate, you're picking them up and playing them. But what does this do to all the other guys? That's what I want to know.
Shane, you're the Detroit Lions whisperer. Okay.
Oh, I try to be.
What do you think about the skill positions?
Look, I mean, really what it comes down to is what are your other options, right? I mean, if I've got Ty Johnson, I'm worried, and I do, and I'm worried. Okay,
you're worried anyway because he's not been
lackluster, right? Yeah. But frankly, I mean, that whole running game has been a disappointment, I'd say. But you know what? Like, if you have Kenny Golladay and you've got Marvin Jones, they've been pretty consistent this year. We were talking about it off air. Like, it's not like Jeff Driscoll is a rookie who doesn't have any playing experience, right? He's got that playoff experience from what was that, a couple years ago, 3 years ago now, 4 years ago, whatever it was. But it feels like it's not completely dire. But then we have to take into account the fact that they're going up against Chicago. And I think Chicago's pissed, man. Like, don't they have to be pissed? They came into the year as a favorite, and everybody is just shitting on them right now. Now they're going against the not starting quarterback. So that could get mean real quick. Going back to the original question, what do I think about them? I'm worried, but if you don't have a better option, then you got to roll with them, right? Don't you?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I got Kenny Golladay. Watch no face. Good morning, brother. The big lost one. We're going to go ahead and save all of our questions until Byron gets here. Good morning, Butterfinger 87, guys. We're going to get to these questions when Byron gets here. I sat up long last night and decided, hey, a lot of these questions are for Byron. Who are we, right? So why destroy your fantasy weeks with our powerful picks without Byron's advice? So we're going to go ahead and wait until Byron hops in here to answer the questions live. But good morning, everybody. Good morning. Yeah. So we were talking about just plug your nose, Jeff Driscoll, in super flex leagues, getting plumped in right to your lineup, as well. Brian Hoyer, Shane. Yep. Brian Hoyer.
I'm starting them both in a super flex where everyone's on bye.
I love it.
Jennifer, good morning, Jennifer. What is up? Hopefully week 9 was so good for you. But again, Brian Hoyer, getting him in your lineup this week against Miami, Shane?
I don't hate it, man. I mean, Miami's putrid. We know that. And actually, to make a couple DFS lineups work, I have Brian Hoyer in there. I mean, you don't love his upside, right? He's not going to be putting up 30 points.
He gave you 20 last week.
But yeah, exactly. He's got a pretty solid floor. And I mean, he's got, a decent supporting cast. I think it's going to be a Marlon Mack kind of game. I think you're going to really lean on that run. But what do you guys think about Zach Pascal?
What do you guys think about Marlon Mack actually having a week that is serviceable for you in fantasy football?
He's been serviceable.
He's been serviceable, but
fine.
The guy has been upsetting. He's been upsetting. A guy that you probably had to take late second, early third round. And he's just. It hasn't been great. Yes, Andrew Luck. The boxes have been stacked, and I get that.
Well,
right?
you would think that Andrew Luck being out for his career, I was going to say the year, is actually good for Mac because it would run more. I mean, it's. I think it's. We were probably overvaluing him based on the fact that he doesn't catch passes a little bit. He probably should have been a 4th, 5th round pick, or going where Mark Ingram was going, and Ingram should have been going where he was going.
Hey, Al, speaking of careers. Cam Newton, again, this morning news pops up that looks like he might just be going on IR. Rappaport's tweeting that, he's probably done with the Carolina Panthers. I mean, you called it 10 weeks ago.
Yep. Well, again, in all fairness, my call about Cam Newton will never play another down in the NFL was based on a quote I heard from the one all-time great quarterback, Michael Vick, who said it in a casual sort of passing by way. But that quote stuck out at me because what motivation does he have to say that? So I picked up on it about 2 months ago based on what Michael Vick said. And then, the chickens are coming home to roost right now. It's the interesting part will be, is he a Chicago Bear next year?
Yeah, well, why? Ooh. So that's another interesting part is that a lot of people have mocked him to the Bears, right? Or have stated that the Bears would be, would be a nice player. Now, do you think that's because there's no way that they could use high or just any draft capital on a quarterback?
They don't have a first round pick.
They don't need a first round pick in this draft. There's a lot of serviceable NFL quarterbacks that are going to be picked after the first round.
Right, but you don't need serviceable. What you need is you have a championship team, you have a championship defense, you have a great offensive line, you have above average wide receivers. Everything's there, and then even just like an average QB would be fine. You can't have Mitch Trubisky.
Ugh. So bad.
So even like an 80% Cam, if the foot is decent, puts this team in the in the top 3 or 4 teams in the NFC. They need to do something. Andy Dalton would be a good solution for the Bears at this point.
Andy Dalton's definitely not playing for the Cincinnati Bengals next year. Yes, or
correct.
Correct. So we're just assuming that the Chicago Bears aren't going to go ahead and do the unthinkable and go ahead and try to give up more draft capital for a young QB.
Because they don't have a first. Like anyone that wants to get in the top 3 is going to need a first round pick. They gave it away in the I can't believe I forgot. What's the defensive player? Mack. They gave up for Mack.
But I'm talking about a QB that started hot, has simmered off, but one Jacob Eason from the Huskies here, Washington Huskies. A lot of people have mocked him late to the Chargers, but I mean, assuming they get past, the 22nd pick,
I get
going in. So
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that the Bears are built to win now. Yes. Marcus Mariota is a better option. I'm just saying is like any of these guys that you talked about that could go in the 2nd, 3rd round. Of course, they could be good, but the Bears are in a hashtag 2 to 3 year window right now. They can't afford any warm up period.
Good take, guys. Byron Lambert joining us soon from RosterWatch. We are going to hold all of our questions until Byron gets in here. Freebird, I see you. Good morning, Jennifer.
I got some questions for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we've been getting a lot of questions on the RosterWatch website. Just those kind of the bottom of the barrel, mid-ish tight ends like OJ Howard, Jonnu Smith, Mike Gesicki. Like, how would you rank those guys this week?
Mike Gesicki, number 1. This week.
He's been coming on, and isn't he? And I just want to ask you something about Gesicki because I think that's really smart to put him 1. A lot of people wouldn't do that. That's what you look for? Okay, bad first year, coming on now in the second part of the second year, and then they have the typical third-year breakout. And not to deviate too far away from Shane's question, but I think it really begs the question is, I think Mike Gesicki could still be had in Dynasty, and
He definitely can, yeah.
That's a guy to go after this, like, right now.
Yeah, that's tough. What about Cam Newton? Again, we were talking about Cam Newton. What do you have to give away for a Cam Newton right now? A second's got to be a second.
Correct.
In a Superflex, right?
You could talk to the Cam Newton owner that's sitting right to your.
Here he is. Yes, his name is One Flex Shane. What would you take right now for Cam Newton Superflex tight end premium dynasty?
Would you take a 2.5 for him?
2.5? No, honestly, I probably wouldn't.
So there you go.
Right. I mean, the reality is you've been sitting on this guy all season, right? And at this point, you're almost pod committed. I actually have him in two of our dynasty leagues, both of our dynasty leagues that we playing together. And, I was pretty high on him coming off of last season's injury, thinking that, hey, maybe I could get him at a discount this year. No, I mean, you kind of pod committed at this point, and unless there's a one tied to it, I wouldn't consider it. The thing is like, as fantasy football players, oftentimes we overvalue the players on our team, right? And there's that holding cost. I mean, a bunch of you vultures have gone after Darius Geis after I've been holding him all season, right? Now that he's healthy. And it's like, well, I've held him this long. I might as well see what the hell I have in him, right?
Right.
But no, I would have to take a one. I would probably consider a late one, just depending. But it also depends on your quarterback situation, right? Like mine's an absolute hot mess right now with Mitchell Trubisky and Baker Mayfield as my two starters. So, I'm rolling the dice that Cam Newton's going to be on a palatable team next year. And hell, maybe to your point, maybe he becomes a new Mitchell Trubisky, right?
Yes, Michael Nunn, Yo Mama So Fat one of my favorite commenters, just because I love the name. We're waiting hold on here. We're waiting for Byron to jump in here, then we'll start at the beginning. So please get your questions in. This will be an all business edition on your Week 10 By-Mageddon game day slate. Please, everybody go right now. Follow at the Flex Network 1 on Twitter. Please subscribe to this channel. Go follow our personal channel, Flex Network. Go out there, YouTube it. Follow RosterWatch's Trash Man, just the disgusting garbage that Trash Man is coming up through. It's seeping. Get a pro membership at RosterWatch.com. The least expensive fantasy content in the industry, guaranteed. Jennifer Sains won by 75 points last week. Okay,
I don't know though, Matt. You know what's crazy about that? It's like, okay, so pretty much all my standard tools that I have when we do this show, it all comes from the RosterWatch website. I've got the matchup tool, I've got the weekly rankings, I've got the DraftKings and Fanduel values based on Vegas props tool open. I've got the snap counts, targets, and touches tool open. I have the touchdown dependency tool open. These are all on rosterwatch.com. They're things I use every single week to set my lineups. I use them when I'm early on in the week when I'm trying to figure out my favorite DFS plays before I totally get saturated by the narrative throughout the week. I mean, the thing about fantasy football, guys, is we want to set our own ideas at the start of the week. We don't want to just be told who the good plays are. So if you can go and use some of these tools and say, hey, what about this guy? Hey, what about that guy? And then throughout the week, as the narratives come in and it almost validates your process, that's always a good thing. But always have your own opinion.
Says, I got a start-sit question for you guys. Sure. And maybe for our listeners here, you guys can go ahead and chime in too. But I have just a real disgusting one. Okay?
Those are my favorite kind, by the way.
Yes. Giovanni Bernard. Nope. Or Dion Lewis.
Whoa, this one is bad.
What is this?
This one is bad.
I would go with Gio, man. I mean, it's been disappointing, but maybe they're going to mix everything up in that Cincinnati offense.
Okay, so Gio with a Ryan Finley coming back, okay, or coming to start week 1. We have against a Ryan Tannehill going against a Kansas City defense with no Corey Davis. Okay, yep. What about the real contrarian idea that you start Marcus Mariota in your wide receiver slot this week? Anybody? In
your what?
Anyone saw the videos of Marcus Mariota catching passes from Ryan Tannehill this week? They are actively moving him out of the quarterback position because they're entranced with Mariota. Mariota, another name, likely not to be on his team next year. says, what do you think about Marcus Mariota's future? And what do you think about Dion Lewis this week? Says in a deep play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally out on Dion Lewis. I think you can find better options. Naeem Hines will be out there catching passes. Dion Lewis is like basically a zero.
Is this a dynasty, Matt? Like that you don't have any waiver wire options?
No.
Unrosterable in almost any format. Watch cut to him scoring 2 touchdowns this week. But you asked a great question about Mariota, because I'm holding him in a dynasty league, and I'm sure a lot of other people are. This is what I think the situation with Mariota is. Tennessee is a candidate to do what you said Chicago might do, is use their draft capital to move up and take Joe Burrow, one of these great quarterbacks at the top. That said, Tannehill will likely be their backup. He's proven to be the better fit for that team. Mariota, I think, will be cut, and he will be making the rounds in some of the camps to try to get an honest tryout, or might end up being, just go the backup circuit and be one of these Teddy Bridgewater, like high-end backup types. I'm not, confident, but if you have him, you hold him. He will certainly get a tryout from all of the QB needy teams.
Yes, so let's go ahead and answer some of the questions from RosterWatch.com. This person's G-Man here has Balaj as a lottery ticket player. Should I drop for Mike Davis? Kalen Balaj dropped for Mike Davis this week. Of course.
Kalen Garbage.
Yes, Kalen Garbage. Go ahead there. Roster Watch Nation, Jameis or Kyler, rest of season. I'm going to go ahead and let Shane answer this one as a Jameis Winston truther.
Oh, this is tough, man. Honestly, I would go with Jameis Winston just because he's showing it to you, right? I mean, we like Kyler Murray. Last week, though, he had the stats, but it was that long Andy Isabella touchdown. Man, rest of season, I just trust Jameis Winston more. I actually had a similar decision. I had a choice between Dak Prescott and Jameis Winston. I ended up elected to go with Dak Prescott because he's got the upside and he's got that solid floor, whereas Jameis can put up 45 points for you one week and the next week put up like 11 and totally just dud you.
The words trust and Jameis Winston usually don't go together.
It's tough.
Usually.
But you know what? I was looking at Jameis Winston's schedule here, and I'm going to buy a little bit of time
while you buy some time here, we'll go ahead and start the questions here. The big lost one here has Kenny Golladay with Driscoll, or are we going to go ahead with Devontae Freeman in a half-point PPR? Says, go ahead here.
So the question is Golladay with Driscoll or Devontae Freeman. I think that it's an easy call. Devontae Freeman, still the starting running back. No Ito Smith, he's out. Brian Hill has been promoted to the backup. I don't think a major threat to anything. I know Devontae Freeman, they're playing the Saints today, right? Tough defense there, but you got to figure they're going to get at least 2 touchdowns. I would say Devontae Freeman's a pretty good bet to get one of them.
Yes, I like
him this week.
According to Roster Watch's matchup tool, New Orleans versus Atlanta, a 51-point over-under. So whether or not the defense is good, there's a lot of starving opportunity in a half-point PPR. I personally like to choose the running back over the wide receiver just for opportunity share. Kevin S. here with a great question. Snickers, Twix, or Butterfinger? Of course, this is the age-old debate.
All garbage food that causes diabetes. Throw them all out and go eat a piece of broccoli.
Yeah, so Al's wife is a nutritionist, just so you know.
Dietitian. Don't insult her.
Dietitian, excuse me.
Butterfinger87 says, good morning, guys. Standard League. Kirk, Sammy Watkins, or Marvin Jones? Shane, who's going to catch the touchdown?
Man, I love Christian Kirk this week, but it's tough between him and Sammy Watkins. Watkins is healthy. Our boy, Mr. Patrick Mahomes, he is back. I'm really glad that they made this smart choice last week and they sat him. I saw somewhere on Twitter like the chances of re-injuring that kneecap injury went from like a 40% chance to like a 12% chance by waiting this extra week. So I'm really glad that they did that. But I'm going for the moon here. If you want to win, and I think that Kirk's got that massive upside, but Sammy Watkins might have that better floor. So
what if you prefer losing? Which one would you do? If you
prefer losing, I'd roll with Marvin Jones.
Perfect. You do Marvin Jones.
Good morning, guys. We're gonna get to these now, guys. So watch no face 1-point PPR. Need a flex from AJ Brown, who I love this week. Curtis Samuel or OJ Howard. Honestly, you can't really start OJ Howard.
Wait a second. 1 second. Just before you, because I was saying that beginning of the week, and then someone pointed this out to me.
Point it out.
Who's the worst team against the tight end? Yes, it's the Arizona Cardinals.
Of course.
OJ Howard off the bye, presumably healthy. If it's going to happen, this is the week. Can we just dismiss him cavalierly like that?
Well, the reason if this was a tight end decision,
you're right. That's a good point.
Then you would roll OJ Howard. But the fact is that they haven't really involved him in the passing game recently, right? It seems like Jameis is basically leaning on his two wide receivers, Mike Evans and of course Chris Godwin. Everybody's saying that it's going to be a Ronald Jones week. It can't all click, right?
How
Unless
about
it's an absolute shootout?
Which side of this would you be on? Under, over, 7.5 fantasy points, OJ Howard. PPR. I'll even make it 8.5. 8.5 PPR.
If it's 8.5, I'm going under.
Matt?
I'm going under.
Well, in a Bruce Arians revenge game, okay.
And by the way, who is revenge against OJ Howard? He hates the guy. No.
A Bruce Arians revenge game where he might have had a little bit of, parting angst against Adrian Peters or Patrick Peterson. I'm thinking I like the under on OJ Howard. I think he's going to air it out. I think he's just going to air it out.
You guys like the under. I'm going to take the over. Let's. I'm trying to think of a friendly wager we could do here that might be. Let's. Can you think of some sort of terms here? Because I'm going to go way over on this one.
Way over.
So you're thinking like two. So we forget that OJ Howard's didn't he lead the league in depth depth of target last year, which is another reason why people for tight ends, I mean.
Correct. And even in yards after the catch, I mean, he was just a monster. And listen, he's been terrible this year. He's been literally unrosterable. But
would you play? Al, this is a decision I have. Would you play Jonnu Smith against Kansas City or OJ Howard against Arizona this week?
OJ Howard. I mean, This is the week.
I'm going to do it. I had him in my lineup all week.
Yeah.
This morning, I switched him out to Jonnu Smith. Actually, no, I switched him out to Jared Cook. So I really have those three choices.
So what you're saying is
OJ Howard.
So what you're saying is OJ's been killing you?
I actually just traded for him 2 weeks ago in this Dynasty League.
You didn't get my joke, but that's
I totally ignored you. Sorry. What's funny?
Okay, we're off the rails.
We're off the rails. One thing, I started watching that show last night, The People versus O.J. Simpson.
Oh, what
I'm like 5 episodes in.
Amazing.
Good show.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So
OJ's been killing you. I understand.
Yeah. Okay.
They also have a very similar show.
AJ Brown, Curtis Samuel, OJ Howard. I'm rolling Curtis Samuel this week.
I like AJ Brown this week, but says you'll be the OJ Howard truther here.
Not in the If this was my team, and Shane made a great point about it's not a tight end question. I like AJ Brown. I'm with you, Matt.
All right.
Yeah, I like AJ Brown. I mean, again, Corey Davis he's out, so I like AJ Brown.
What's the weather like in Green Bay for this Carolina Green Bay game?
I don't have any idea on weather. How are you going to hit me up with that? Like I had the damn weather reports in my hands or something like that. Jeez.
I'm checking it now.
Freebird says, good morning, all. Standard scoring. Flex, Tevin Coleman or Latavius Murray. With Breida healthy, I'm rethinking playing Murray. Think in nose. Oh, New Orleans, easy matchup. They might split touches with Kamara to ease them in. Now, all week on RosterWatch Nation, RosterWatch.com, get a pro membership at RosterWatch.com. Kamara actually has the best, most favorable odds this week, according to RosterWatch metrics, to score a touchdown this week, or the DFS player values, even over Christian McCaffrey. Now,
he's minus 300 to score.
Yes, minus 300 to score. So, well, does that mean he's going to score? Yes. But does that mean it could happen in the first quarter and then they run Latavius Murray to the ground through the rest of the game? Yes, that could mean that too. It's a smart play to flex Latavius. It's a smart play to flex Latavius Murray. It's definitely a smart play. Now, against Tevin Coleman, I live in Seattle, okay? I've seen many a game against the 49ers where this is just on the ground for 4 straight quarters to score 16-12, 13-12, just a real stinky game, okay? So with that being said, yes, I might like Latavius Murray over Tevin Coleman.
Because you know what? Tevin Coleman's not even the best running back on that team. It is Matt Breida. He's more efficient. I think he's a better player. He's more electric when he touches the ball. He outperformed Tevin Coleman just last week. I would roll with Latavius Murray, man. Like,
Yeah.
What the hell else? Like against
we-
that Atlanta team, it's just you have to.
We have. By the way, when Shane says against, now I almost think he's mocking you, but he's not. You're mocking him.
Exactly.
So that's the part. It's very confusing to me. It's very confusing.
all very
by the way, we have some breaking news.
Oh.
Okay. Ooh.
Okay. So I put breaking news in quotes, meaning like I think I can almost do Adam Schefter's job here.
Yep.
Okay.
Ready for the quote, air quote breaking news?
Oh, yeah.
Antonio Brown isn't expected to play again this season. No shit.
Oh, this morning. Yeah, exactly right.
Oh,
No
got
shit.
me. Got me. Yeah. So
I mean, that's breaking news.
The word is on the Seattle local beat writers is that the play for Josh Gordon was because the Seahawks backdoored to the NFL execs and found if they were to go after Antonio Brown, then the NFL would the census is if somebody were to pick him up, he'd go right to the NFL exemption list.
Oh, the commissioners. You mean basically
exemptioners?
Basically, the NFL was not going to allow him to play.
Yeah, they're it's their 100th season. The NFL.
Did you see all like the tirade he had against the NFL yesterday?
Yeah, and then did you see the redacted statement? Literally, after the dude's bipolar. The guy is crazy. I mean, he is crazy, and says was also crazy to draft him in the second round in almost every league.
Everywhere.
So again, says you got flexed on that one, but it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking news.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're gonna go to another one on RosterWatch.com. Derrick Henry or Alvin Kamara this week says.
Alvin Kamara. I mean, I understand the question because Derrick Henry's in my top 10 this week, but Alvin Kamara, he's back. He's presumably healthy if he's playing. They obviously held him out a couple extra weeks. They're coming off the bye. Yep. I mean, this guy is when he touches the ball, every touch can be taken to the house. Drew Brees is back and healthy. I can see a very big game.
Who dat?
There's just passing, again, this week, a lot on RosterWatch.com, a lot on RosterWatch Nation, RosterWatch on the Sirius XM show. Kamara, and we had our redraft, our midseason Superflex redraft league on Friday, and a lot of people were shitting on Flex Mike for taking Kamara second. But when you calculate the idea between Saquon on an anemic offense versus Alvin Kamara on a stellar offense, I just have to assume that rest of season I might take Kamara, even though the share might be split. He's just that good. He gets that many opportunities. He just says. But you didn't like that. Go ahead.
I mean, in a draft where you have the whole player pool available to you besides Christian McCaffrey, I mean, to take him above Saquon Barkley, take him above. I mean, there's about 4 or 5 guys. I mean, listen, is it
Dalvin Cook?
Right, Dalvin Cook. It just didn't seem like an optimal pick. But who the hell am I to say it could turn out amazing, and then I'll look foolish for saying it? Just based on what we know, what we could project going forward, it didn't seem like an optimal pick. But I've learned better than to be so cavalier about any take in fantasy because it's not that outrageous. It's not like he took someone who was projected to go in the 5th round. He jumped up about 7 or 8 spots, in my opinion, to take the guy. So,
all right, let's get to the next question. So we're going to go Latavius Murray over Tevin Coleman in a flex here. So Jennifer's comment, let's go to the second one. She says, sorry, I sent an incomplete message above. While Ryan was out, she picked up Garoppolo to block the matchup. Luckily, we had forced the matchup to pick up Carr, and he did terrible, which was great.
That's called gamesmanship. I like that.
So she has to start. That's the preface for this question above. Holding QBs, blocking matchups. So she has Matt Ryan as my starter, but had Tannehill in. So essentially, I think this question is Matt Ryan or Tannehill says this week for a start sit.
So the question is Tannehill or who?
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I mean,
I
know
know Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, well, remember, Tannehill is for fantasy. Just talk about fantasy. Yes. Has been unbelievable the last 3 weeks. I mean, last game he did get it in the last couple plays of the game, but that's fine. This is a legitimate question. Yeah, this is a legitimate question, but I'm still going Matt Ryan. I'm not going to get cute. I mean, would you be surprised today if Tannehill had sub 10 fantasy points? No, you'd be shocked if Matt Ryan did. I think the floor and the ceiling are both higher for Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, and I'm playing says with Matt Ryan this week, hoping that does not reign true. Chris Strauss here, team name Dirty Mike Evans and the
Sounds like a
boys.
drink, right? Yo,
Dirty Mike
give me
Evans?
2 Dirty Mike Evans, please.
Yes, well, the Tampa Bay offense has a double dirty wide receiver threat for the locked up for the foreseeable future here. Record 4-5 was Rockin' Stafford. Should he pick up Jimmy G, Tannehill, or Hoyer? Okay, so let's start there. Pick up Jimmy G, Tannehill, or Hoyer here.
I mean, Jimmy G, Tannehill, or Hoyer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy, how do you go away from the San Francisco offense right now?
So good. And Emmanuel Sanders, like he's got chemistry with him.
Okay, I mean, this looks like, I mean, if I was looking at like rest of season rankings, and Emmanuel Sanders is way too low in some of the mainstream commercial fantasy
Friday
website
draft or redraft.
Absolutely. I think he's a top 15 wide receiver the rest of the way.
Yep.
Ooh, that's a big one. Also, Matt Schaub throwing for 460 yards against that Seattle defense. Jimmy G this week, again, has to be some type of a nice bye week starter here.
I mean, I would
Curtis
think
Samuel.
He's a regular starter, not even a bye week starter in a lot of leagues, you know?
Yeah, in my league, he has to be. Curtis Samuel or John Brown in a standard league. Yeah,
John Brown, when was reasonably projected as a big play guy when the season started, but he's had actually an incredibly good floor as well every week. I mean, so even in standard, he's catching 5-6 passes for 70 yards, 60 yards, 90 yards. I like John Brown a lot, and he's been a completely different player than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah,
so
I love it.
Would you pick John Brown here in a standard league?
Yeah, I think standard is where John Brown is the strongest.
Yeah, with the high floor. Okay, so we're going to go ahead with a John Brown right there. Also, Jimmy G, Michael Nunn. Who would you play at the flex position? Marvin Jones, Alex Erickson, Gerald Everett. Keep in mind, Golladay is already playing. So do you go with the Golladay, Marvin Jones, Jeff Driscoll swindle, or Erickson or Gerald Everett? You know that this is a real conundrum for this guy when he goes to the Erickson, Gerald Everett option. If you don't, you got to throw in Marvin Jones here.
Yeah.
I mean, right? Alex Erickson doesn't have a rapport with his QB yet. Well, yes, he's been getting a lot of – go ahead.
Hold that thought for a second. So I was thinking that exact thought through, and this is tell me if you follow. Sometimes these backup wide receivers have chemistry with the backup QB because that's who they've been practicing with on the second team. Alex Erickson has only recently been elevated to a starter. So before that, in all summer long, he was practicing with Ryan Finley. So I think that there's actually a decent chance, not a great chance, a decent chance that he has some rapport with Finley and that you could see a boost in production for him. And this might actually hurt Tyler Boyd.
Well,
3 minutes later, after the explanation, doesn't that sound like you're overthinking it, Al?
No, because we've seen, and I can certainly understand your point there, but we see this all the time where the backup QB comes in and some no-name receiver gets a lot of production, and it's because they've spent all offseason working together. We do see it a lot. It's not. Go ahead.
I agree. I understand with what you're saying, and I don't hate it. But I mean, to me, it's like Gerald Everett's out because he's a tight end here. Marvin Jones, he's reliable. He's a vet in this league.
Well, I think that with Jeff Driscoll, Marvin Jones, the floor went to absolute zero. So, yes, Gerald Everett would be the play, but I just is more making the broader point of Erickson could have some chemistry with Ryan Finley. But, yeah, I think that looking at these names, Gerald Everett is a good play here. Although his production has suffered a little bit as Tyler Higbee's gotten healthy. So,
yeah.
Well, Brandon Cook's unhealthy, so would we flex out and go Gerald Everett? I like the Erickson play. Byron, good morning, Byron. We had a real filthy question here of a Marvin Jones, Alex Erickson, and Gerald Everett. Since Driscoll's starting this week, a little goosey on the Marvin Jones play. Says, take it away with your take on Erickson and the backup QB.
I would throw it right to Byron and ask him. We were just talking about how sometimes when a backup QB comes in, they may have enhanced chemistry with a backup wide receiver because of all the offseason summer, the playing with each other they did. That's why when Erickson and Finley may have developed some sort of connection even in the preseason.
Well, that's a long-time original roster watch doctrine, the second team doctrine. And that's when you have a guy who's practiced on the second or third team with the like a backup wide receiver or tight end throughout the season and training camp. And they just see chemistry is a real thing in the NFL. And these quarterbacks are truly just humans, man. They go to the guys they like and they're comfortable with. A lot of times it's not much more complicated than that. So if you want to make that connection for an Erickson, that's fine. There's a big prop on Auden Tate this week. And so I think if you're going to like Tate, why not like Erickson? In that situation, since we have no Matt Stafford, though, I'd probably just play the matchups. I'd play whoever has the best matchup. Do you guys have the tool open? Is there one of those players who has a much significantly better matchup?
Detroit's in Chicago. That doesn't seem like it'd be optimal for them, even if Stafford was there.
Yeah. So that's a bad matchup. I'm just wondering what Erickson's matchup on paper looks like. And
against Baltimore.
Baltimore, 12th matchup. Yeah. 12th ranked matchup against wide
receivers. And then who was the other one?
Marvin Jones, Gerald Everett. Rams against Pittsburgh with the 11th or 9th. Sorry, 9th against tight end.
It's tough.
Boy, that's a tough one, man.
A similar over-under, 43 and 44, respectively.
I think I'd put in Erickson.
I'm just like laughing. I'm laughing at the terminology second team doctrine. I love that. That's just unbelievable. Yeah. The doctrine definitely makes it.
We have an old core set of roster watch doctrines. It's kind of like our old Bill of Rights or Constitution. It's a dusty piece of paper somewhere I could dust off for you boys. We can go over it.
Yeah. You look like you're working hard over there, Byron. You're sweating.
Yeah.
I am working hard, man. I'm actually in a time crunch here. So I don't have a lot of time.
Let's roll through.
All right. Zip through them. Let's get them in and out.
All right. With Ronald Jones seemingly being a chalk play this week, non-PPR, Ronald Jones, Robert Woods, Ted Ginn.
Who's that?
It's
Mama So Fat 1.
So I'd play Ronald Jones. I like Ronald Jones. Woods, and if you have a hunch, I think that's fine, but I would play Ronald Jones.
Okay, so then easy pickings, 7-2. Rank these guys for the week. Winston, Prescott, Ryan, and Garoppolo.
Winston, Prescott, Ryan, and Garoppolo. So I would have Winston and Ryan up top, and then I would have Garoppolo and Prescott in a tier just below that. And I like all four of those guys.
Yes. All four are great quarterbacks on the year this year.
Here's one from Slack. It's coming in. It says Tyler Boyd or Michael Gallup. Half PPR.
Boyd has the big props, so let's just go with the tools, right? I mean, what do we do all the work for? There's a lot that goes into those Vegas props, so...
Are you nervous at all about them, with their defensive secondary all back in seemingly healthy, where Humphrey goes and shadows Boyd?
I am worried.
I'm really worried too.
Boyd. I mean, I don't love him, but he does have a good prop. What was the other option? Wasn't something else that really
Michael Gallup
didn't blow my hair back a whole bunch. I mean, that's a sneaky play.
Yeah.
I think it's a sneaky play. Is this a PPR format? Did it say?
Half PPR.
It's like splitting the baby.
Yeah.
If you're worried about Tyler Boyd, I think it's just fine to put Michael Gallup in. But if you want to go with the tools, everything is going to say you need to get Tyler Boyd in.
Get Tyler Boyd in the flex there. We are joined by Byron Lambert from RosterWatch.com. Follow them at RosterWatch. Get a pro membership at RosterWatch.com. The most valuable fantasy content in the industry. Jennifer Sains, a fine lady of RosterWatch Nation here. She's starting Ryan, Mike Evans, Juju, Derrick Henry. Catch TMC and is out. I think that's a buy. Or no, Catch TMC, Mike Gesicki, Evan Ingram out. Flexing Robert Woods. I have Fitz and Breda on bench. Might have to start Fitz over Juju since he's questionable. Would that be a change you might make, or maybe Fitzgerald in over anyone else?
Okay, so first of all, she needs to get Juju out of her lineup.
Ooh, there you go.
Juju out of the lineup. Okay, Byron, give us a little on that there. That's a big
I mean,
one.
I hate Juju against Jalen Ramsey, and he's hurt. So
Yeah.
Was banged up.
what the
right?
hell? Mason Rudolph. I mean,
Get
a better
Juju out of the
option.
lineup. So there it is. Fitz. Now, would you go Fitz or Breida? Assuming this is a flex.
As much as Fitz is in like a good spot to speculate on, but you'd have to play Breida there.
Breida.
Hey,
Okay.
I think. Maybe in PPR
Breida,
you would play Fitzgerald, but in half point or in standard, I just think I go with Matt Breida, man. I don't know what to tell you guys. I think that's just whatever. Fitzgerald's been disappointing, right? The last, it's a speculative spot. I'm having to play him in season long. I'm not thrilled about it. I was considering guys like Darius Slayton over him and Ted Ginn and all these assholes. Still guys I'm not sure about, So
Byron, we've been getting a lot of questions on people that own George Kittle and then like another bad tight end, and they need to know what to do if they wait for Kittle. Is there any of the tight ends that play Monday night, or is the backup tight end for San Francisco worth waiting on Kittle for, or is it just?
No, I think you got to just play somebody else at this point. Can you pick
Kittle's
up?
Doubtful.
Yeah, but a lot of those guys, like Fant, they're all on like bye. So it's did they wait for like the Seattle tight end Hollister or someone like that, or just play?
I think you play Hollister if you want.
Right,
that's fine.
Right.
I like Dwelly. I like Dwelly if you have Kittle.
Yeah, that's a guy Alex was really talking about. I don't know, man. It just depends on how deep you want to go, I suppose. But there are decent options. There's Jared Cooks. There's Vance McDonald. Janu Smith gets a bump, I think, with the Corey Davis news. He was dropped in a lot of leagues last week after the stinker. So, all those are just like close your eyes, stick your hand in the bag, and pull one out. Right.
Hope you don't get pricked.
Yeah, or snake.
Byron. This week in DFS, it seems like there's 3 big chalk plays that everybody's a little nervous about. David Montgomery, Ronald Jones, and Mike Gesicki. Okay, are you at all worried? Are you throwing them in your lineup? No questions asked, or is there a little bit of a contrarian option here when everybody seems to be paying in on these guys?
I like them. I'll have them in a lot of lineups. I won't have them everywhere just because there's other guys I like too, but all of those are strong plays. Could they screw you in any given week? Literally just listen to what the names that you just said. Of course that they can, but it's like, listen to what you just said, really. Look yourself in the mirror and say that again, Matt. And
right.
But yeah, all of those guys are strong plays, and I'm getting plenty of them in this week.
So this next question has a guy that I am very torn on this week. Good morning, all. This is Gerpender. His name's Pennywise. He's 8-1. Pick one flex, full point PPR. Tevin Coleman, Hollywood Brown, Tyler Boyd, Latavius Murray. Now the guy I was speaking about is Hollywood Brown. You would assume playing this week against a Cincinnati defense, but you could get a real wide receiver QB swindle. This week.
I would play Brown or Coleman, I think. This is one where I can throw the prop out the window on Tyler Boyd with all our other concerns. Who the hell knows what's going to go on there, right? So
if you have a Brown versus Coleman, if that's your decision, how much are you in on Hollywood Brown this week? I think for a lot of fantasy players with this bye week, bye Mageddon, Hollywood Brown is there and is playable, but you're a little nervous about him. Are you as nervous, or you think roll him out?
What's the matchup for Tevin Coleman? That's just like a middle of the road matchup against Seattle this week.
Middling, number 14.
I think it's a really tough call, man. Everything would say just the safe play is get Tevin Coleman in your lineup, and that makes a lot of sense. But in PPR with this, it's an excellent matchup for Marquise. Am I wrong?
12th ranked.
Yep.
Byron, without even
you gotta like Hollywood Brown, man. Tevin Coleman's not really been good in PPR. I think I'm rolling out Hollywood Brown and just living life, loving life.
Yes.
There you go.
But Byron, again, a lot of questions about the Detroit offense in Chicago, which already wasn't a great matchup. If you had, without looking at any of the tools, just which one top of mind, though, anecdotally, do you think which Lion is most likely to produce today, regardless of position?
Shit, man. I would have to say Galladay, or maybe there's something sneaky with a Hawkinson there. Obviously not something you could never, I switched to Hawkinson for like a Janu Smith in season long this morning once I got the Corey Davis news and the Matt Stafford news. So
me too.
I think that's about it, man. Probably Galladay, right? It's hard to trust Marvin Jones. He's going to get some targets, so probably Galladay.
All right, Jennifer saying, since you guys are on the tight end topic, I have Evan Ingram out, has Gesicki, like we had said before. Free agents available here. Jared Cook, OJ Howard. Would you guys still go with Gesicki?
I mean, it's an incredibly tough decision.
Ugh.
Vegas likes Gesicki. We've liked Gesicki all week.
Vegas has an 8-point prop for
let's
OJ
throw Howard out, man. I mean, you like Howard as a speculation this week, but you can't live with yourself if you put Howard in over those guys and he sucks and one of them goes off. So,
what about a Bruce Arians revenge game this week, Byron? I love the revenge narratives. I know it's trash.
I mean, it could happen, right? But I want to play based on like reality a little bit, right? And so I don't know, that might happen. It's a good matchup. It could be the wheat though. That's like, dude. Cameron Brave. I wouldn't be surprised if you tell me one of these other tight ends. Who's the other one? The rookie that's spectacular on the Bucks, young tight end that was getting red zone reps the last couple of weeks. I mean, you never know. It could be like Evan Ingram faced these same Cardinals, and he was a dud, and it turned out I think it was like a Red Ellison week or some garbage like that. So I don't know, and who knows what the risk of re-injury is with Howard. I mean, I see the reason to like him, but I just find it difficult to put him in over Jared Cook in a pretty decent matchup attached to Drew Brees in a massive game total, or Gesicki, who's just a guy we've liked all week, had a good prop come in. He's in a good spot. So
yeah, he's been following like the typical like tight end like breakout, like bad first year.
Yeah, he was a Senior Bowler. He was a good prospect. I mean, Gesicki was a guy I kind of like to break out a little bit preseason. Yeah. It's been a rough year down there, right? But
it's coming along now. Looks good.
You feel a little less likely that Gesicki's going to ghost you, but you feel like maybe just being attached to Drew Brees isn't a bad idea if you're not sure. So,
well, I mean, Atlanta is the number, what does it look like, 7 matchup right now against tight ends.
Yeah, Gesicki's got the nice prop in. Boy, that's a tough. Yeah. What's the matchup for Gesicki?
Miami against Indianapolis. It's number 14, so middling.
Play the matchup. Let's go with Jared Cook and Drew Brees in a good matchup.
I just like it. That game's going to be a shootout.
Yeah.
Boom. Brenneman, 1, 2, 3, half-point PPR, has Kenny G and TJ Hawk starting, have Samuel on the bench. Should I play Samuel over Golladay? Worried about weather in car game. Worried about 2 pass catchers with no Stafford.
Oof. Is that Curtis Samuel? Is that Deebo Samuel?
Let's say Curtis.
That's a great question. I'm assuming it's Curtis Samuel. Even though, by the way, I like Deebo Samuel quite a bit this week.
Oh, yeah.
Do I want Curtis Samuel over what's the other asshole I'm deciding about, Kenny Golladay?
Well, definitely not TJ Hawkinson. If you can bench TJ Hawkinson, like, to me, you're playing.
Yeah. So bench TJ Hawkinson if he's your flex, which it seems like he might be, considering the guy you're not really asking about any tight ends to replace him with here.
Really, it's a Samuel over Golladay. So,
and I hope it's not Jalen Samuels. That should be obvious.
Right,
I would put Curtis Samuel in over Kenny Golladay. Yes,
Curtis Samuel.
Also, you were talking about the Pittsburgh backfield a little bit. What do you think about how like the Sleeper app has Trey Edmonds available to play tight end? I know he was a tight end at some point, but it's so you could he's available. He's available out there. Listen, if he gets 9 carries, 10 carries, and you can play him at tight end, that solves some of your tight end problems this week in week 10.
Yeah, it's a sneaky. I guess it's a
little swindly.
It's a concoction, scheme, plot, ploy, design, whatever you want to call it. I guess it could have some legs in like a competitive situation where you don't have any other options. But how do you begin to sift through all that? It's so hard, man.
Byron, we're gonna pull the mask over Sez's head, and it's gonna be the trash man under there.
Yeah, that would be freaking hilarious.
Here we have Sean Melling just commented: Kirk, Ridley, or Boyd.
God, I love Calvin Ridley so much this week, but he's not really that big in the props. We're not as let's throw Boyd out because we're just not sure. Who was the other one? Kirk. I think you got to go probably with Christian Kirk, man. Yeah. But boy, I sure do. You got to go with Kirk. But I sure do love Calvin Ridley this week.
Yeah, I got Kyler Murray as the number 1 QB on the week this week. Okay,
I had to drop. That's a horrible. Alex.
I know. I heard it on the morning.
My God. And I could have really used him this week, man. I was too.
Hold on, says
Too
it's
greedy,
so
man.
funny.
Too greedy.
I hear Alex go, "Oh, I just randomly had to pick up Kyler Murray this week," and then Byron goes, "Damn it!" And it was Byron that dropped him. And it
I was like, "You're welcome, man. You're welcome, man."
So Freebird says he has both Allen and Breeze at QB with Lamar's midweek illness and Baltimore's easy matchup against Cincinnati. Is worried running may be left to running backs, and Breeze might be a better play. Thoughts?
I think it's fine. Is he asking if he could put Drew Brees in over Lamar Jackson this week?
Yep.
If that, yeah, that's fine.
Buck Nasty commented on the RosterWatch.com. I'll see if you guys agreed with what I had said here. 8-1, Kamara or Derrick Henry, PPR. I said Kamara because of the passing upside.
Kamara, I don't care just because it's Kamara.
Okay.
I mean, Derrick Henry's certainly a top 10 option, probably at the position, but you don't go there.
And I don't, Henry to us has always been good enough in the receiving game that he doesn't have to get game scripted out of a game like this against the Chiefs. But there is the possibility that he loses snap count in a game where they get behind probably pretty quickly to these Chiefs. So I don't want any of that. I'd rather have Alvin Kamara and what's probably a shootout at home.
There you go. Rodney M.
Sorry, just
especially in PPR.
Did you guys see that LaShawn McCoy is a healthy scratch today?
Oh, fuck, he is?
Yeah. He's a healthy scratch for Damian.
I got to tell my mom about that.
Wow.
No, you don't, Byron. No, you don't. Okay, team name, Carolina 7 equals dad. 6-3, 1 point PPR. Got to start 2. Mark Ingram, yes. So Allen Robinson, Jalen Samuels, or Devontae Parker.
Ingram and Samuels, right?
Yeah.
Boom. Sean Visaki, full point PPR, 1 point PPR. Marvin Jones, Christian Kirk, Tyler Boyd, or Emmanuel Sanders. First Emmanuel Sanders question this morning.
He's a lock and load, right?
Yeah.
Byron, we were saying before.
Over Kirk and Boyd?
We were saying
to me, it's Kirk or Sanders.
Mm-hmm. Byron, we were saying
Sanders is doing it though, right? Like Kirk is still speculation.
Yeah, fair enough.
Emmanuel
Sanders looks awesome. That's fine. That's a tough
call.
And
we talk about it every week. The Monday Night Hammer, man.
All right, there you go. That's fine. People love the Monday Night Hammer.
When Shane is going off the rails, to play the Monday Night Hammer.
Shane, after his Marvin Jones 4-touchdown call against Minnesota when we all benched him, we always default to Shane with the hammer.
That makes sense. All right, boys, I got a couple more in me here. I got to get rolling.
All right, Byron. Maybe actually, instead of a question, then Byron, let's talk about this. Shane, go ahead and remove that. So, how excited are you to scout Joe Burrow in the offseason, heading into the fantasy season?
That's pretty exciting, man. That's a big one. Yeah, that's very exciting, and that's a pro day that we have gone to often in Baton Rouge at LSU. So that'll probably be one we'll be looking forward to going to, and yeah, that's exciting, man. I get excited about all these young quarterbacks coming in the league. Really the league has had the chance to almost turn all. In the next couple of years, you're going to look back and say that the league has had the opportunity to turn over, 25 quarterbacks in the last 5 years in drafts or whatever it's been. You know what I mean? So 5-6 years. I think we were at 12 last year. Not all of them have turned out to be good, but some of them are turning out to be really good. So it's exciting times, and yeah, scouting scouting those guys is fun.
So in the early scouting, just seeing it, is there a possibility that he could be the first quarterback off the board next year? Now that's maybe a bad question because I think there is a possibility. But how
is he not the favorite at this point?
Yeah, he's the favorite.
I haven't, in full disclosure, I haven't broken even anywhere close to breaking down the college tape like I do every year for our draft and
just the eyeball
evaluations. From the very little college football I have watched so far this year, it'd be pretty hard to argue against him as Burrow against the number 1 pick in the draft.
All right, we will let Byron get out of here. This is Byron Lambert from RosterWatch. Follow at RosterWatch. Get a pro membership at RosterWatch.com where you yourself can join in on all the tools that we look at for our start-sit questions that Byron and the team over at RosterWatch help devise their rankings each week. We have the snap counts, touches, and targets, the matchup tool, the waiver wire, the maniacal trade cast that Byron has sat and painstakingly discussed for an hour and a half each week. That is free at Apple Podcasts, RosterWatch.
Hey, Byron, I got a question about the trade cast asks, how did you let the listeners shame you out of drinking water? I liked when you swigged the water.
It's better to be, I think it was a fair point. So we just
but I think it became a thing. I think we got to bring it back.
It makes me think of just like that swig in Napoleon Dynamite, right?
It was something.
Maybe the off-season podcast. Who knows? That's
it was
funny.
something gross and wonderful about it at the same time.
I guess we were just aiming to be more professional for you guys. So
all right, Byron, thank you very much, brother. Have a great day. That was Byron Lambert from RosterWatch.
Thanks, gents. So long.
See you later, brother.
Please join in on RosterWatch's SiriusXM. We will rattle the rest of these off here. So let's hit back to that question. Half point PPR 2 and 7 need a win. Okay, needs to Emmanuel Sanders, which we're gonna.
This guy doesn't need to win. He's out of it. Just to start.
Well, you're never out of it until you're out of it.
No,
if you win
you have no hope. Don't give this guy false hope. Do not give this guy
possibility.
You have no hope. You have no hope.
Stop it.
Says,
you're always a damn wet blanket. We talk about this every freaking week.
Says that was a very dickish thing to say to this guy.
Listen,
totally has hope.
Totally. Always hope.
If you ever want truth, come to me.
Sorry?
He has no hope. I'm telling you, it's zero.
Usually you want to be 7 and 6 at the very least, but 6 and 7, you never know, Al. There's like a 1% chance. Look,
it doesn't pass the airport.
I respect the fact that he's still playing it out. You have to.
All right.
But
Emmanuel Sanders, DJ Moore, Gallup, have Jalen Samuels on bench because he has Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook, Lev Bell. Yep. So flex lock to RB. Oof. Okay. So Sanders, Pascal, DJ Moore, or Gallup. We're going to go Sanders there. Yep. And it was Curtis Samuel in the previous question. Jeff Craig, I don't know what to do. Please help. Galladay, boy.
Wait, Matt, we didn't answer this guy's.
I said a man. Oh, we had two. Okay.
Sanders, I would go Sanders, Gallup. Gallup and DJ Moore.
Well, duh, it's Gallup or DJ Moore, but which one?
I'd go Gallup.
Okay, let's go Gallup. Jeff Craig, I don't know what to do. Please help. Galladay, Boyd, Cook, Samuel, Everett. What is that? Gallup?
Samuel, Cook.
I think you said that. Do I grab A.J. Brown or Robbie Anderson, and where would I play them? Oh, that's weird. Okay, Gerald Everett. I see what you're doing here. So it's basically A.J. Brown, Robbie Anderson, or Curtis Samuel. Man, Robbie Anderson, you smoked him if you got him last week, but if he doesn't show off this week, I mean, it's pretty.
I'm out.
Pretty over
I'm out on Robbie Anderson. That's it. I'm out.
Okay, so we're gonna keep in Curtis Samuel standard league.
Thanks to your guy Kevin in the comments here for saying he respects my honesty. I appreciate you, Kevin.
There you go. B. Ollie with a trashy question. B. Ollie, it took you so long, and this is what you got for us: Boyd, McKissick, or Ty Johnson? With the prop on Boyd, I think we have to put him in. I'm not saying that it's an easy decision, but with the prop on Boyd, it has to be. Derek McGrath, bench question. Should I pick up Hardman and drop? Yes.
Done. Do it.
Where is? Let's see here. That next one, Hollywood or John Brown? I guess you would have to go Hollywood here, according to Byron's news.
And only that is Hollywood only needs 8 snaps, like 3 catches. I'm telling you, he could do it on a low snap count. That's why I like Hollywood.
You guys go follow us at the Flex Network 1, please. Jennifer Olstead, I love you guys. Thank you for all you do.
And by the way, Watch No Face in here is I think he's taking it to heart. I'm only kidding. You do have a chance. I'm just being a contrarian.
I don't even think it was Watch No Face that said
it was.
That. Oh, it was.
It was.
Oh.
Yeah, just so you know, there is a chance. I'm totally kidding. I just, as Shane like to said, I like to pour cold water on people.
Hey, Watch No Face.
Listen, dude,
I'm
2-7 in one of the league where I play with these two assholes. And I'm still going to play it out. And I've got that chance. There's
let's go.
Always hope.
Starting Cook, need 2 more. Need 2 more. Bell, Chubb, Singletary, DJ Moore in the flex. I like Chubb for sure, but I like Singletary this week, guys. You like Singletary?
One of my favorite plays of the week.
Okay. Gridiron Samurai, Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson, standard scoring.
Samuel.
Let's go, Samuel. Watch No Face, taking it to heart. 1 point PPR, Fitzpatrick or Kyle Allen. That's not a PPR question, but yes.
Fitz is the fun. You know what it is the Miami's the most fun 1-7 team I've ever had to watch. They are really fun to watch.
B. Ollie says he was hungover. That was the result of his Tyler Boyd question. Yes.
What about this one? We got another one from B. Ollie.
Beckham, Curtis Samuel, or Gallup. I hate not starting Beckham, so I'm going to do it every week.
Yep.
You know,
or as he wrote, Baham. I like Baham.
I like Beckham. Freebird, Standard League, flex either Curtis Samuel, Fitz, Devontae Parker, AJ Brown, Landry. Landry with the big prop this week.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, Landry has a decent prop this week on the. I don't know that it's huge, but it definitely is there. Jarvis Landry with a 12.33 prop, 56 over under with a plus 175 to score. I mean, if Beckham is going to get locked down somehow each and every week, you know,
answer my start sit then. Zach Pascal or Jarvis Landry. I'm making that choice in a league.
Jarvis Landry. We are the Flex Network. This was your Week 10 start sit with Byron Lambert from @RosterWatch. Go to @the Flex Network 1 and please give us a follow. Follow the RosterWatch Media YouTube. We will flex. Thank you, Shane. End us out of here. Click that end button and have a great Week 10, everybody.
Boom.
Peace.